Hi kids, it's Mrs. Fravel. How are you? I'm well, thank you. All right, thank you for asking. Hey, we're starting Phylum Arthropoda, the next phylum. We're moving on up the evolutionary ladder continually, and this is a big group of animals. This is the biggest group of animals in terms of number of species and biomass that we're going to talk about all year. What's going on with my hair today? Okay, so let's get going. So Phylum Arthropoda, and that word technically means jointed feet, which is the hallmark characteristic of these animals. They are the most successful animal group to ever live. They've been on the planet for over 500 million years. They branched off from the branch that led to us long ago, so we don't have a ton in common with them, but they do consist of this highly successful multi-layered group. We have discovered and named over 1 million species of arthropod, and we don't even know how many species we haven't yet named and discovered. And just with that, 2 of every 3 animals that we know of are an arthropod. And that is a number of individuals, 10 to the 18th power. That's a 10 with 18 zeros behind it. Does that number even have a name? I don't know, but that is a lot. But just like every other group of animals right now, they are in trouble. Okay? And we'll talk about that. Of course, I'll bum you right out, but it's a huge, diverse group of animals. They inhabit all ecosystems from the deep ocean to the highest mountains, and they were the first animals to colonize terrestrial ecosystems. So back before there were animals on land, these guys ruled the oceans, and then as fish became more successful in the Devonian, these guys started to move onto land. As plants moved onto land, they followed them up there, and the first terrestrial animal was a scorpion. Oof. Which, full disclosure, I love all animals. You guys know that, right? I am appreciative of every animal group and type in the world, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a fan of some of the groups of these arthropods. Some of them I love. They're really cool, and I can't appreciate all of them, but I'm gonna tell you right now, you guys, spiders creep me out. And I'm not a fan of scorpions either. But I appreciate the role that they play in our planet, and I am amazed by their physiologies, and what we're learning about their behaviors is quite interesting as well. Okay, so we'll talk more about those. Okay, if that'll go. There we go. Okay, so general characteristics, this is what you need to put on your Prezi. If you are just Googling characteristics for a phylum and putting that on your Prezi, I'm taking off points. Make sure that these are the ones that you know. You need to know these characteristics, okay? So these guys are bilaterally symmetrical. We have left behind radial symmetry. Echinoderms are the last radially symmetrical group we'll study. All of the animals going forward are bilateral. They have an organ system level of organization that is quite advanced. These guys are really good at running their bodies. And they all have a hard exoskeleton that is composed of protein and chitin. A few of them have a reinforced calcium carbonate exoskeleton, and they have well-developed body regions, and it's segmented, and they have jointed appendages. Now let's talk about that exoskeleton and those appendages, because those 2 characteristics are really the hallmark of this group. So those 2 things combine to provide this massive diverse group of animals with an unlimited genetic reservoir of body styles and appendage forms. And so these guys are kind of known as the biological Swiss Army knives. So all of them have kind of the same general body plan, where they have a head, they have a thorax, they have an abdomen. And the next slide will go into that a little bit more, but depending on the group, it looks very different, and we sometimes call it different things. So in spiders and scorpions, chelicerates, they have a prostoma and an opisthoma. Myriapods, which are centipedes and millipedes, they have got a head and a trunk. Crustaceans, they've got a cephalothorax and an abdomen, or a head and pleon and pleon. Perion and pleon. Just put my glasses on. And then insects, of course, have that head, thorax, abdomen that you guys have learned about. I'm going to link this video underneath this one. Make sure all the videos I link you take notes from. Okay. Again, that basic body plan, they all have those 3 three general regions: head, thorax, abdomen. There's just some of them have a few fancier words, okay? And those appendages, goodness, they are amazing because they can be modified into an almost endless array of tools. They can be claws, they can be little tiny pinchers, they can be fans. I've got a crab with fan hands, and my daughter's got a shrimp with little fan hands, and they're just adorable. I'll show you guys videos. They can have just plain old legs, they can have pinchers, they can have wings, they can have antennae. All of these appendages have muscles in them and are finely tuned to their environment and what they do in their niche in their environment. They're just amazing. I love them. And they come in two general types. They are either uniramous, or biramus. Oh, sorry. So uniramous is it's one. So these guys have just a single branched appendage, not a single appendage. Their appendages are a single branch stacked end to end in segments. And then there's another type called biramus, where the end segments branch off into two and then can branch off more. And that's where we get the fans, that's where we get claws. So each subphylum and each class has a different appendage style, and yes, you will need to know those, okay? More general physiology stuff. These guys are dioecious, so they have separate males and females. They do internal fertilization and copulation. They have a complete digestive system with a mouth, foregut, midgut, hindgut. Make sure you know that. They respire, and depending on whether they are an aquatic or a terrestrial species. Aquatic species have gills. Terrestrial species have either book lungs or tracheae. And tracheae are like little tubes in their armpits, and book lungs hang down in their abdomen, between their abdomen and their thorax, and they are like book pages that hang down and do gas exchange. Excretion, they have little glands or malphigian tubules. Again, those glands open at their joints. They have open circulatory systems. They have a dorsal heart. So remember, dorsal is back here. So their heart and their arteries, their aortas are on their dorsal surface, open system. And some of them have blood that is blue instead of red because it uses a different protein to bind oxygen. They use hemocyanin instead of hemoglobin. They have a dorsal brain, so their heads have brains in them, true brains, and they have a ventral nerve cord, and they may have two of those. So these guys are kind of mirror opposite of the vertebrate animals, where your brain and nerve cord are dorsal, your spinal cord are dorsal, your heart and aorta are ventral. So these guys are opposite of that. Okay? And again, they have really well-developed sensory systems with eyes, true eyes, and antennae. And those eyes get pretty complicated. So these guys, you have an eyeball, right? You have two eyeballs. These guys, and each of your eyeballs has one lens in it that focuses light onto your retina, makes an image in your brain. Okay, these guys have that times 100 or 1,000. They can have all of these lenses. Each lens gathers light, makes an image that is sent to the back of the eye and then sent to the brain. So their brain has to translate all of these different images into one image. And sometimes they do that with more than two eyes. Spiders have up to 8 eyes. It's not at all creepy. Sometimes it's cute. Okay? You don't need to worry about knowing Ommatidia. Just remember that they have lots and lots of lenses that all gather light and images. And some of these guys can see beyond what we can see in the color spectrum. So some of them can see ultraviolet, some of them can see infrared. These guys do grow. And how do you grow when you're surrounded by a tough suit of armor? You get rid of it. So as their soft bodies grow, their exoskeletons don't. So these guys also all go through larval phases, which I'll talk about as we go through the groups. Most of them go through larval phases, and each time they grow and go through a metamorphic stage, they have to get rid of their exoskeleton, and that is called molting. So their soft body inside of their exoskeleton, the muscles are attached inside that exoskeleton, and as they grow, it puts pressure on skeleton, and then they have to bust out of it and molt, and then their exoskeleton has to harden again. There's a video there. I'll link that below. Okay. Okay. Go. And then again, these guys have been around for a long time, and they at one time ruled the planet, both in the ocean and then again terrestrially. Again, just owing to that amazing possibility of body shapes, body styles, and appendages. And trilobites are a favorite of mine. These guys lived between 500 million and 232 million years ago. They came in hundreds of species from big ones to tiny ones that had eyes up on stalks and had big, large sensory appendages and grabbing appendages. So really cool animals. They were made up of a cephalon, a thorax, and a pygidium, and they all disappeared at the end of Permian. The fish kind of took over the aquatic world. They left in the Devonian. Arthropods, that's when they kind of started. Wow, I can talk. It's Monday. I have a class starting in 2 minutes, so I gotta go. Okay, trilobites are great. Okay, here's your assignment. Arthropod reading questions on Canvas and just the arthropod characteristics Prezi. Again, this is a big, very diverse group, and we're gonna go through several of the subphyla and classes. So I want you to keep your first characteristics Prezi simple. Just do the characteristics for the whole group of arthropods. The instructions are on Canvas. So go do the reading and questions, read the whole article, then answer the questions, and then do the Prezi. Okay? All right, they're due next time. Have a great day. Have a great week. Be careful, be safe, be good, be kind, and hope to see you soon. Bye.